breaking news out of Dallas, Texas. Now, we've just gotten word that there has been an active shooter going on for quite some time, and we've gotten a development in the case. Up to 10 officers have been shot and wounded and are now being taken to the Baylor Medical University Center. And on top of that, 3 officers have been killed. This is a direct reflection of the Black Lives Matter movement, because this happened at a rally against police brutality. And this guy has now held himself up. There's multiple snipers involved in this. These men are in body armor and are shooting guns at police officers.
This is disturbing. I'm not sure what we're seeing, but it looks from this vantage point like an officer down. We're not sure. We are not sure. This is my speculation as I look at the screen. Stand by on that. I don't know what I'm seeing. This is the control room trying to tell me they have a better vantage point. So I'm sorry for the speculation. The police are working on.
Oh my God.
We're all seeing this together. This is not clear. It is not clear. It's not clear to me from what we're seeing, but the situation is escalating. That officer is not moving. Look, we're not going to show dead cops or dead bodies or hurt cops or hurt bodies or hurt protesters. We don't know what we're seeing, so we're going to look at New York while we try to figure this out. This is the state of America today. Eric, you're talking because it appears there's some sort of a confrontation happening now. We're not looking at bodies, and we don't know what the situation is. People could have been crouching, they could have been waiting, but the cops are circling behind these vehicles. We saw them dragging a couple of people, and the situation appears to be escalating between the police officers and the protesters, we believe.
Oh my God.
Let's listen for a second. We saw moments ago in Dallas, Texas, a cameraman start to run along with other people running through the streets of Dallas where they were protesting the shooting of 2 different black men by police in 2 different cities in the past 24 hours. We saw that cameraman run to this location. Then we saw what appeared to be a body, perhaps more than one, on the ground. It was not clear whether the person was living
Chief
or...
David Brown holding a press conference. Let's listen.
And give us that information so we can bring these people to justice. We also believe that these suspects have threatened to plant a bomb in the downtown area. We have reached out to our federal law enforcement partners, both the FBI and the ATF, to help us search for both the suspects, or maybe it's more, and to do a very thorough search of this area where we believe there might be a bomb planted.
А система ПРО продолжает строиться. Значит, мы были правы, когда говорили, что нас обманывают. С нами неискренне, ссылаясь на якобы имеющуюся иранскую ядерную угрозу при строительстве системы ПРО. Ну так оно и есть на самом деле. В очередной раз пытались нас надуть. Сейчас построили эту систему, сейчас ставят там ракеты. Так? Но вам должно быть известно, что ракеты эти закладываются в капсулу, которые используются для пусков ракет средней дальности «Томагавк» морского базирования. Туда закладывают сейчас антиракеты, способные поражать цели на расстоянии 500 километров. Но мы знаем, технологии развиваются. Мы примерно знаем, в каком году примерно американцы получат новую ракету, которая будет уже не 500 километров, а 1000, а потом больше. И с этого момента они начнут угрожать нашему ядерному потенциалу. Мы по годам знаем, что будет происходить. И они знают, что мы знаем. Это вам только вешают лапшу на уши, как у нас говорят. А вы, в свою очередь, вешаете своему населению. И люди не чувствуют опасности. Вот меня что беспокоит. Ну как мы не можем понять? Мы тащим мир вообще в совершенно новое измерение. Вот в чем проблема. Делают вид, что как будто ничего не происходит. Но я не знаю даже как...
Endorsed a project to counter Russia. The Western Military Alliance has announced plans to hold talks with Moscow. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said the NATO-Russia Council meeting will take place at its headquarters in Brussels on July 13th. Western leaders are expected to cement a new deterrent against what they call Russian aggression in Ukraine in a Warsaw summit soon. The Western Military Alliance and Russia last met in April after almost a 2-year break over tensions on Russia's annexation of Crimea. NATO accuses Moscow of military interference in Ukraine, but the Kremlin strongly rejects it.
A suicide bombing claimed by the Islamic State has rocked northeastern Syria on Tuesday. The monitoring group, the Syrian Observatory of Human Rights, said at least 16 people were killed in the attack at a bakery in the mostly Kurdish-controlled city of Hasaka. The group reported that 3 children and 2 women were among those killed, with several others injured. Islamic State said in an online statement that one of its members carried out the attack. The extremist group said the attack targeted the Kurdish YPG militia, which captured large areas of the territory from ISIL in northeastern Syria last year.
More than 500 women pushed through Venezuela's National Guard to get across a closed border into Colombia in search of food Tuesday. Venezuela is in an economic crisis and has a food shortage, and people living there are sick of it.
Todo lo que necesitamos allá, nuestros productos en Venezuela, que no lo tenemos, lo estamos tratando de conseguir aquí en Colombia. Papel, hasta el café, porque ya subió bastante allá, ¿no?
Corruption from both countries has led to tight control on the borders, so passing through hasn't been an easy option. Venezuela doesn't produce much of its own food. As a result, it has high prices and few options. The country's main export is oil, so falling oil prices have hit the economy hard.
A series of large-scale joint anti-terror exercises kicked off on Sunday in Moscow with the participation of the Chinese People's Armed Police Force and Russia's newly formed National Guard. The special drills are held from July the 3rd to the 14th in Russia's Moscow and Smolensk regions. China's Snow Leopard and Falcon Commando units, as well as the Russian National Guard's Vityaz unit, are participating in the exercises. It's the 3rd time for the two countries' interior forces to hold such exercises, which center on tactical skills in combating terrorism to boost practical cooperation between the forces of both sides.
Korea's southeastern coast was shaken by the 5th most powerful earthquake to ever hit the Korean peninsula last night. Experts are handing out divided opinions on whether the 5.0 magnitude quake could be a prelude to something bigger.
The quake detection frequency in Korea has been increasing ever since the Great East Japan earthquake in 2011. In February of 2012, a series of 4 earthquakes struck off the coast of Ulsan, the same area where Tuesday's earthquake hit. Some experts say the quake can be traced to the Tsushima Goto Fault that sits below the East Sea.
It's a fault highly active with big and small tremors, so it wouldn't be unusual to see a bigger earthquake take place.
The online dating site Christian Mingle is now welcoming gay and lesbian users. The Wall Street Journal reports they'll be able to search for same-sex matches under a settlement approved by a judge over claims of discrimination. 2 gay men filed class action claims against Christian Mingle's parent company, Spark Network, for not giving them the option to seek a same-sex relationship. Spark Network also said they will change the options within the next 2 years for gay couples on the site. The network also agreed to pay the men $9,000 apiece and $450,000 in legal fees.
Chris Sevier says if same-sex couples can legally marry, he should be able to legally marry an inanimate object. Chris Sevier wants to marry his computer.
This is not a game, okay? This is not some kind of funny scenario.
He made his intentions known and went to Utah County Clerk Brian Thompson to ask for a marriage license.
In this day and age, nothing surprises me anymore. I've been in this office long enough. I've seen lots of different things, but I just said no. I legally cannot do that.
So Sevier is suing. He says since it's legal for same-sex couples to marry, all other forms of marriage should be legal too. Sevier says legalizing gay marriage is like turning religious beliefs into law because he says there's no scientific proof that homosexuality is a genetic trait.
There's no real proof that there's a gay gene. There's no real proof that people are born gay.
I asked Sevier if he's truly sexually attracted to his computer.
Whatever a person has sex with, they can bond with. So, I mean, this is getting into like nasty fact stuff. And I mean, the truth is that's like engaging in private intimacy kind of matters. And that's completely irrelevant for the purposes of federal court. It's also completely irrelevant for the legal matters at hand.
But he did say if the Supreme Court nullifies their ruling and redefines marriage as a union between a man and a woman, he would no longer want to marry his computer.
I stipulate that there is no marriage like man-woman marriage.
Sevier filed this case in district court last week and will continue to follow it and update you on the judge's ruling.
A Christian group has won a court battle over Noah's Ark tourism attraction in Kentucky. The group applied for a tax break worth $18 million for an exhibit featuring a life-size replica of Noah's Ark. Kentucky's Governor Steve Beshear had rejected the application, saying it was a form of religious indoctrination. But the Christian group beat Kentucky in federal court, winning the tax break and attorney fees.
People are going to come from all over the world. I believe this is going to be one of the greatest Christian outreaches of this era of history. It's going to forever change Williamstown, and we're going to see 2 million people, I believe, close to 2 million in the first year, maybe more.
It is awesome, absolutely. Just the magnitude, the scope, the size of it, it is incredible.
I think it's pretty fascinating, and to think that this kind of thing could happen that many years ago without the technologies that we have today, it's an incredible thing to see.